This is the future.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So today, excuse me, I have a bit of bad throat today. Sure. All right. Good. So today's topic that I'm going to cover is on zero trust, and that's the key topic that we see across DNS security that is going, one of the key aspects. So today's agenda that I'm going to cover is introduction to efficient IP. Few of you have, come to our booth. We are on a very niche technology of DDI, and that's why I'm just going to run about a company introduction. I'm going to run through the Zero Trust Foundation very quickly. I'm going to cover about how DNS, which is one of the critical protocol, which is used across every network that we run, everything that we access, DNS is a protocol that works across. So I will try and explain how that is critical and how attackers and hackers use that protocol to, pass malwares and do mischievous activities. And definitely helping the use cases about how mapping clients to a domain can bring a better control within any IT organization. And finally, a summary about the key takeaways. Right, so very quickly to introduce Efficient IP as an organization. So we are French headquarter company. Our worldwide headquarters is based in Paris, and we have respective headquarters in US and APAC to cover the geographies. We deal in very niche technology, which is DDI, DNS, DSCP, and IP address management solution offering. And on top of that, we do a complete DNS security, which is very critical in today's cybersecurity prospects. And we again have a lot of open ecosystem integration from an IPAM part, which is again critical to have the dots connected where which endpoint is connected, which indirectly helps to do a postmortem of the IP addresses, that which IP address, when was it connected, and what kind of malicious activity it had done. So very quickly and broadly, these are the four verticals that we focus as an organization. The first vertical covers as DDI as a base product solution offering, where we act as an DNS, DSCP, and IP address management solution. Second vertical covers as DNS security, which is a key aspect from a DNS and DNS security part. Third vertical covers the network automation, which runs on top of an IPAM. And IPAM also helps to get the complete visibility of on-prem, branch offices, data centers, cloud, private cloud, public cloud that are deployed. So we get a complete visibility about how and where which endpoints are connected. And last but not least, the GSLB, which helps for an application resiliency perspective. So where your DNS plays a role of resolving domain name to an IP address, and you can easily allow the users to move from DC to DR or from moving from one data center to other data center seamlessly without any manual intervention. This is a broad customer base that we have globally, and we again have a strong customer footprints locally also between large enterprises, telcos, manufacturing, governments that we have deployments. So very quickly on Zero Trust Foundation, I think most of you are aware about Zero Trust. So it's not something new. It's been almost last few years. Every security OEMs or inside organization, we are all talking about Zero Trust. So what Zero Trust brings here is, if you see before a decade, we used to all bother more about is perimeter security. How should I make sure that anything that is coming inside my network should be secure, or anything going outside should be secure? But today, what is happening is, we are more bothered about inside to outside also. And within the east to west traffic, if one of my insider is trying to do some kind of mischief activity, how do I control that? So that is where Zero Trust comes into picture, where I do not trust outsiders, and equally, I do trust employees, I do trust my colleagues, but at the same time, I want to put a better control. So that's where Zero Trust comes into picture. And what are the key foundations again from a Zero Trust perspective? Visibility. Where what is connected, how it is connected. Real-time analytics, what kind of a traffic is running in my network? What is the mischievous activities happening in? What is good, bad, what kind of traffic is running in? Analytics. And once I have analytics, I want to do orchestration and automation. That's why if you see everywhere, AI is something going on. Every ads on TVs that you see today, probably talking about Cadbury, ad that I was seeing, it also talks about AI. So everywhere AI is happening. And that is where the automation is coming into play. So now looking at the very specific protocol, DNS is the protocol, and why DNS is critical between user and application. DNS is mission critical. So what it means, without DNS, you cannot live with. If I have to type efficientip.com, first thing I will do is resolving a domain name to an IP address. And then I will do HTTP, HTTPS, whatever connections that I'm trying to do. So without DNS, I cannot access any kind of application. No DNS means no business, or probably I'm not able to access anything on the network. It can be internal, it can be on public domains. So now coming to security, kill chain cycle is not something new again. It's something that attackers and hackers are always using from last more than a decade to first infect a machine. Once the machine is infected, they will try and exploit the malwares to do a data exfiltration or any kind of east to west, collateral passing of this virus or malware. And these are many different kind of attacks. Again, there are more than 100 different attacks that are known on DNS protocol. And one of the key aspects that I'm going to highlight today is DNS tunneling, which is also known as data exfiltration over DNS. So let's try and understand, because many times when we do work with customers, they always see I have WAF, I have DDoS, I have sandboxing, I have APT, I have next-gen solutions. Why do I need DNS security? So if we look at this machine when it is infected, it has probably all endpoint security, everything deployed, but there's always 0-day that can impact. Once the machine is infected with the malware, it tries to do data exfiltration using DNS protocol. And when it goes to an internal caching DNS server, it says, this is a good query. I do not have within the cache. You will pass all the queries to CNC server. And by doing this software on the reverse side can build up the file again. And if you see, this is a PDF or Word document which was passed over a DNS queries, passed through a network as a standard DNS query. And this file was built up again as a PDF or Word document. So what you see on a network is DNS, but actually the data that is going within DNS is PDF, document, or any kind of a PPT that can go outside. And most of time, DNS on the network is allowed. Port 53, TCP, UDP is allowed on the network. East to west, south to northbound. By default, it is allowed. So now very quickly, I have a limited time, so I will be rushing on the slides. We can definitely connect on the booth. So why DNS? So DNS becomes your first line of access. Anything and everything that you try and access or an internal or external application, DNS becomes the first line of access. So it becomes the first line of visibility. So as this becomes the first line of visibility, this can also act as the first line of defense. So if I know this is a bad domain, why should I do it on proxy? Why not on DNS at a first level itself? So it should not go on my network level. I'm covering about efficient IP DNS security. So we cover full 360-degree spectrum of DNS security, where we have DNS firewalls, where these are the bad domains. Many of you have a cybersecurity teams where they would have list of domains to be blacklisted. We can very well take care of firewalls. Then we have Threat Pulse, which is our threat intelligence feeds that can help you to prevent from known bad domains like phishing, spamming, malware, botnet, all sorts of bad domains. We can very well restrict in. Then we have Intelligence Center, which can help in to cover and give you visibility what are characteristics of that domain. What, is it in probably different categories? What kind of it is A, B, C, what kind of levels of that category of that domain is put on? And very quickly, Guardian. Within DNS security, what we do uniquely is behavioral-based analysis. As DNS is the real-time traffic, we analyze the traffic. We see if one of the sources is misbehaving, we immediately take in countermeasure on DNS. And Blast is our highest performing platform where we can deliver up to 70 million DNS queries per second. So let's try to understand how network is not very much adaptive on a DNS protocol. When we talk about zero trust, you need to control apps, domains, and users while they access to each other. And most of times on network, we allow source to destination IP address. But DNS is by default allowed. This means that the applications that are blocked on the network is more a blanket access that is given in. And how DNS can bring a value proposition is with different use cases like internet restrictions, parental control. If I have VIP access, what access should be given, not given within the network. And IoT is something very key aspects that we see where most of the time we see have a lot of security deployed, but IoT do not have any security on themselves. IP cams that are connected, you have different conferencing solutions deployed. They don't have much of security by themselves. So that is where we can use DNS with client query filtering. So let's try and understand how client query filtering can bring up value proposition. So client query filtering is based on two important aspects. One is the source client IP address, and destination is not IP address, it is the domain name. Because DNS deals on FQDN, fully qualified domain name. So by using FQDNs and source as the IP address, I can define which IP address is allowed to reach out to which domain names, which typically we do it on network on IP addresses. So let's try and understand a couple of use cases and how this can be very much useful within any IT organization. Creating multiple client list with domain deny list. So what it means, I have the list of domains defined in, and I have a default user which should be allowed on network by default without any restriction. And now I have identified clients where if it matches the client list, I want to take a respective action to allow them. And if they do not match the list, I want to deny them. Now this, what you do on a network is based on IP address. Similarly, what we are doing it is on domain name. There is a key differentiator that we bring on table by using DNS. So we are complementing network security using our DNS security. A second example is more towards IoT. Again, we have a list of client IP address and domain name. I have a default user which is allowed to access internet with all DNS queries within the network. But on the second hand, I have an IoT device. And this IoT device mostly are connected over DHCP. So your IP address would keep changing. So now how do I dynamically put up policies on the network based on source IP, which is difficult to do in. So that is where we have a DDI solution where this IoT device gets an IP address to DHCP. DHCP is dynamically updating to an IPAM, which is IP address management solution, and that updates a DNS, and DNS gets updated with the list. So this is all the orchestration that is happening automatically within the solution without any manual intervention. So now if I match the IoT device within the domain, I allow that IoT device to access the domain. If I do not match the IoT device, I deny the access. So there can be use case that I have an IP cam. Within these IP cams, I don't want them to be accessed to specific domains more than 2 domains. On the other side, I have a different OT environment where I need 10 domains to be allowed. So this kind of a use cases bring a strong value proposition within any IT organization. And believe me, we are seeing more and more use cases coming on. How do I put a better control using DNS protocols? And that is why we have a very good solution which can help in to prevent zero-day attacks, at the same time any east to west traffic that is going on within the network. So bearing your time and looking at the key takeaways that summarizes the entire what we discussed. So first thing what we do is DNS brings the visibility. Anything and everything that you access, DNS brings a complete visibility. It is like a gold mine for a data that is accessed. With CQF, it improves your network security. What you're doing on network security like firewalls, you're doing on DNS on FQDN level. Puts a better control on domain names. And third, but last but not least, how do we countermeasure? We do have dynamic threat intel feeds coming in where we know these are the bad domains known across the world. But at the same time, we have behavioral-based real-time engine running on the DNS server, which puts the restrictions on a real-time basis. And by doing this, this enables to this all benefits on different business use cases that we see on the screen. Right. So thank you. Thank you for your time.